for me, still taking that 5 minutes of mindfulness first thing in the morning where, I get up and I take my ginger and turmeric shot, and then I brush my teeth and I open the blinds, and I'll take my heart rate variability and my blood pressure and check my sleep quality, etc. Then I'll sit down and I'll write out my schedule, or I'll review my schedule that I've written out the night before, and then I'll go and sit on the balcony. I'll have a coffee or watch a sunrise. I'll do my 5 minutes of mindfulness, okay, and then I'll come back into my desk, and then again have another look at my schedule and go, all right, what's the most important thing that I need to get done? My energy levels are high. This is a high energy task. I've got 45 minutes. I'm going to get cracking on this right now. Boom. Or my energy levels are a little bit low. What's a low energy task? I'm going to find these low energy tasks, those annoying things that need to get done. I'm going to get that done today, knowing that, hey, my energy is probably not going to get better throughout the day, or maybe if I've got a little bit of time to train here, I'm going to make sure that I get a little bit of training in. I'm not hammering myself. I'm doing something that's going to add to my day, not take away from it. It's going to allow me to walk out of the gym feeling better than I walked in, and then go, all right, now my energy levels are moderate. What's a moderate energy task? And then I start adjusting that. And if I've got any high energy tasks that need to be done that day, maybe I can push that to the next day. There's always going to be times where, sometimes you just have to fucking grind through and just get some of those high energy tasks done with low energy, but you want to try and minimize that as much as possible. And this is where, being flexible with your week and being flexible with your days is really important for me. Like, I've got two whiteboards in front of me. On the right whiteboard is 4 quadrants. In the top left quadrant, or on the top 2 columns, the 2 titles is urgent and not urgent. And then on the left hand side is important and not important. Right? So those 4 quadrants are urgent and important. Guess what? That's a shit that I need to get done.
Yeah.
On the right hand side is important but not urgent. Guess what? That quadrant's fucking full of stuff. That's all projects, right? But I don't need to do that right now. That's all stuff when I've hey, maybe when I've got, low energy, I can look at my not urgent but important things, and the first thing on the list is rename my podcast episodes. That doesn't take me much energy. So
I was thinking that when we were talking just briefly, that was one task I need to do for mine is, how do I make this a little bit better?
Yeah, exactly. One of those tasks is all my IGTV episodes that I put on social media over the last year or so. I want to transfer them. I want to put them up on YouTube. So that stuff doesn't take that much time. It doesn't take that, or it does take time, but it doesn't take that much energy. Right? So when I've got those low energy days and I don't have those high energy tasks that I have to get done, that's when I'm like, all right, I'll have a look at that list. All right, what can I do there? Boom. And I'm still ticking the list. I'm still ticking those boxes, right? I'm still getting those wins, right? Then down the bottom left-hand side is urgent but not important. This is the stuff that just comes up.
I've definitely written this wrong way around. You're going to have to tell me how it is again. But yeah, carry on.
So urgent but not important. This is the stuff that comes up now. It's hey, can you can you send me your details for your online coaching program? Blah, blah, boom. Send them a quick email. This is the stuff that's if I can do this in 2 minutes, I'm going to do it right now.
That's my rule too. I always say that is and it's amazing how many times you can just get 5 tasks done in 10 minutes. And you're oh my God, I've just wasted a week just to get this shit done.
Yep.
And I could have just done it within the matter of that. I always feel it's a head process though sometimes.
Yeah, but again, it's batching that stuff, right? Right, here's those things that I need to get done. They're not fucking urgent. Oh, sorry, they are urgent, but they're not super important. But it's just admin stuff that I've got to get done just to keep chipping away. And it's if I can batch a number of those things together, as you said, you can tick 5 things off the list in 10 minutes. Boom. Yeah. All right, there's some stress off your mind that you don't even have to worry about. Okay, then down the bottom right-hand quadrant is not urgent, not important. And for me, what I've got on my list there is organize my phone folders. Because I've got a new phone and I've transferred all my files from my old phone, and I'm it's a little bit messy, but I kind of know where everything is. it's not super important. Like, it's not urgent. If it doesn't get done, like, I don't fucking care.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, no, yeah. Okay, this is gonna help me, this grid, I think, because that's definitely where I sometimes like, and I think sometimes it just occupies your brain as well, right? Like when it's not
Hmm.
definitely like sometimes in your phone it's not important. It is when it's like you're searching for something and it's like if I would have done that, it would have been easier. But
Yeah, but it takes
it's
a lot
not
of
gonna
time to
break
get to that point.
exactly. And I think yeah, just sometimes having that in your head, but then actually when you get it out onto paper or you write it down, it can kind of clear and know. Obviously, like you said, when you put it in a compartment, it's makes it a lot easier to kind of digest, and you don't waste too much time kind of thinking about those things. You know it's going to get done at some point.
Yeah, exactly. I'm actually going to go through these whiteboards again in a little bit more detail just now because I have had people reach out to me and ask, like,
Do
when they
it.
see my photos and videos and stuff, they're like,
Yeah.
what's on your whiteboards? How do you organize your shit? So I'll
Okay,
go through that in a little bit
I've
more
got
detail.
my notepad and pen. Let's go.
Okay, so what I want you to do is draw 4 quadrants, a line straight down the middle and a line across the middle.
Okay. Oops, I don't know what I just drew then. Yeah. I literally just started drawing lines. Yeah, okay,
All
got
right,
it.
so you've got 4 quadrants, right? 4 squares. Now, in the top left quadrant, up the top, write urgent.
Top left, urgent.
Across the top,
Yeah,
and then that same quadrant across the side,
yeah.
up, is important.
Okay, now I see where we're at. Yeah.
And then on the top right quadrant is not urgent. And then the bottom left quadrant, up the side, is not important. So what you should have is the top left quadrant is urgent and important. Top right quadrant is not urgent but important. Bottom left is urgent, not important. And then bottom right is not urgent, not important.
Oh, I love this.
This will help you organize your thoughts so much easier.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is
Yep.
good.
Yep.
This is so, and it's so simple as well, isn't it? It's like, and in your head, you kind of think these things, but again, they're just still there floating around. So it distracts you more than you actually do things.
We've talked about this before, right? Like writing things down is a way to organize your thoughts. And then once you organize your thoughts, then you prioritize them. All right, where does this slot into this quadrant? Is this sweet? Like, it's written down. This is important, but it's not urgent. That means I don't have to do that right now. I don't have to think about it. But it's written down. Once I get a chance, maybe in 2 weeks' time, or I'm, feeling a little bit creative on a Sunday afternoon where I've been, out with my friends and I've had a good morning. I've had some brunch and I've had a massage and I've got home early and I'm feeling good. My creative juices are flowing. Cool. What's on my list there? All right, I can tick some of that stuff off over the next 40 minutes to an hour and a half or whatever. All right.
Will you use this to do it? Will you do this a new one every week, or are you doing this based on a month, or where is it with you on this?
Yeah, so this one, I'm constantly taking things off, putting things on.
Back on, yeah, okay.
Yeah, like I'll it's either Sunday night or Monday morning. I'll have a look at things that are on my board, and I'll rub things off, or I'll add things on. But that's only one of my boards. My other board, on my left-hand side, I've got. This one's kind of a little bit messier, probably a little bit more difficult to explain, but basically what I've got is 7 squares along the top, and each square is probably about 2 inches, 2 by 2 inches. Okay, 7 squares, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay.
Okay, and then underneath that, I've got a 2-inch line with 2 columns.
2-inch line. Nearly done my 7 boxes. Say that again.
Okay, so under the 7 boxes, pretty much the same distance, that 2-inch box from the top of the whiteboard or the page. Then there's another, and then right under that you'll have one line about 2 inches below that, going across the full page, and then you'll have a line that splits that in 2.
All the way down.
All the way down.
Like a T.
Like a T. All right, perfect. Now, in the top left one, underneath the Monday to Sunday boxes, is my monthly focus.
Wait, underneath those 7 boxes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So in that big rectangle,
Mm-hmm.
yep, is my monthly focus.
Okay. Yep.
And then on the right rectangle is my weekly focus.
Yep.
All right. In the big blocks, left on the bottom left and the bottom right corner, the left column is personal, and then I've got 3 headings underneath that down the left-hand side. So personal's the heading at the top of that column.
Hold on. In this big one here.
Yep. So the title there is going to be personal.
Yep.
And then down the left-hand side
Mm-hmm.
is my top priority, and my errands.
Okay.
Okay, then on the right-hand side is the title is work, is my main heading.
Yep.
So that's in the middle, right up the top. And then down the left-hand side, again, top priority, and errands.
Nice. Yep. I had a few littles. I think I made that work. Okay.
All
Wanna
right.
check? He's just checking for reference.
Perfect. All right, sweet. Now you've got all my secrets, Lizzie.
Yes.
And so does the audience.
It's a good
All right,
thing.
so basically what I'm doing is I'm looking at my schedule, either the night before or the morning. I'll definitely review it in the morning if I have written it the night before. Okay. And then I'm looking at my board on the right side, which is my quadrants. And I go, right, what do I need to do here? Boom, boom, boom. I start slotting them in, right? And then if something is urgent and important, then I'm looking at my day and going, right, that's my number one thing. That's the first thing that I write there.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, my monthly focus for this month is write up my phase training programs and start filming. Okay. My weekly focus for this week is to film my strength program. Right. So then I start looking at my days and go, when can I get this time in here? I'm going to need at least 4 hours. So I can either split that up over these days, or maybe I just fucking get in and do 4 or 5 hours of filming on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah, totally.
All right.
Yeah,
cool.
I think that's I think it's like using those together is super
Absolutely.
important as well, because it gives that you kind of have that organized chaos, and then it starts to become really refined, and actually you see. I think that's the difference, right? We're so work focused some of the time that we forget, like when our personal side of things come in, we forget about those things, or vice versa, and they eat into each other. But I think having the overall kind of monthly focus is key, definitely.
Absolutely, and that's the thing. It's not just about the day to day. Like, that's why I organize my week like this. I organize my month like this. It's because I know, hey, you know what? Like, you know, I've got like a Tuesday and Thursday. They're like full black days for me in my schedule. Like, that's the shit that I'm getting paid for. I'm like fucking like back to back with clients and calls and blah blah blah. You know, so I know that by the time, you know, I get some time in the afternoon, my energy level is going to be low. So, you know, I'm probably not going to be filming my training programs on those days. You know, I'm not going to be recording podcast episodes on those days. You know, those are the days where I'm probably going to be editing and uploading and, you know, writing, you know, transferring things to YouTube and doing social media posts and all that type of stuff that don't take as much energy. And I'm looking at the week as a whole rather than, you know, I need to get this shit done today, or I need to get this shit done every day, which actually brings me to my next point. Do you have free time in your schedule on a daily basis?
I do. Define free time. What would you define free time as?
Like a chunk of time where you don't have anything scheduled. You don't have like eating or whatever, time where you can kind of catch up and you can put out those fires and you can pick up those things that come in that are urgent but not important, that need to get done. Or maybe they're urgent and important that need to get done now. Because if you don't schedule those things in, if you don't schedule in that time, then you're not giving yourself time to put out those fires and be reactive. Because here's the thing, like we fucking have to be reactive. We can be as proactive as we want. We can plan and be as disciplined as we want. But at the end of the day, like if something comes into your day and throws a spanner in the works, then that throws the entire rest of the day out, which then throws your mindset out because you're like, oh, well, I didn't do this and I didn't do this and I didn't do this. And now you're playing catch up the next day. And then those things that you had planned for the next day get pushed to the next day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that is super important to label it as well. And again, I think labeling is key with all of these areas of actually knowing what to call them, and almost, I guess, like free time in the sense, like sometimes I think when you don't plan things, then you think, oh, it's just free time, I can do whatever, and I kind of go off course. But kind of redefining what free time means, that's why I just wanted to know where you stood on that part. And
gotcha.
I definitely have it, but I don't structure it. So like you said, with the putting out the fires, like this morning, my main focus, my main block of work I was doing was all client focus. So it was sending my emails, it was rewriting the new emails for next week, so I was preparing ahead of time. It was going through all my True Coach and getting back to clients on their form, on their workouts, on their Sunday check-ins. And then in that time, I had access to my business account on WhatsApp, and I was simultaneously working with it. So I had to react because some clients were like, this hasn't been changed, or this is changed now. So I need to make sure I'm on it, because it's one of those things, obviously, if you read a message and then you walk away, you just forget. Or so for me, yeah, it's there. And I think Monday's the most clear of my weeks when it's like that. So I know I can be reactive at those points because I have to be, because I'm, like you said, they're my paying clients, they're paying for the service, and they're the bread and butter of my business and me being able to provide something, right? So that's when that shows up there in terms of being able to put out the fires. But I think sometimes, it's creating that time for it, because sometimes the time then runs away with me. You know? And yeah, there you go.
100%. And this is, tying into what I was saying earlier about, when you're going for your walk, maybe that's when you're going, hey, I'm not going to listen to an audio book now. Maybe this is when I'm replying to my clients via WhatsApp, or I'm doing my social media posts or whatever. Like, you're still doing these things that are important to you, but you've given yourself that free time where you're actually giving yourself time to get out, get some movement, get some sunshine on your face, get out with the dogs. But then, you're also reacting to these other things that are coming up as well that have to get done. So that's what I mean by free time, not necessarily like scheduling time where you can just sit around and do fuck all. It's like scheduling time where you're doing something for yourself, but you're also, giving yourself that opportunity to be reactive and be able to put out those fires as they come up. And for me, like, that free time for me is like, it might be spending time by my pool, getting some sunshine throughout the day, where I'm replying to clients, I'm going through my social media messages, I'm replying to emails, and I'm doing social media posts and shit like that. Like, I'm getting that reactive shit done, but I'm still doing something for myself. I could be reading in that time, but then that means that, that reactive stuff I need to pick up somewhere else. So, it's just simply about prioritizing that. And sometimes, getting your reading done is going to need to push back to later in the day.
You leave my reading alone.
Hey.
I'm feeling attacked here.
I'm speaking from lived experience.
I know.
Because I love reading as well.
No, I'm just messing. And I think that's really is so true, is then, having that designated reactive time is so huge alongside with what you're doing. So so a lot of things definitely for me to think about in those points. And I think just one key thing just from me and my learning just so far is, with any sort of change and like any sort of uncertainty in the place that we're in, is just having that time and patience. Because obviously going from building a life for 8 years in Singapore to then coming into the UK, I'm almost doing what some of my clients have come to me before, going, I want change now.
Yeah.
And because I'm so high on expectations of myself, is that when I'm not seeing it, it has sent me like a month ago, it sent me in the other direction, because I was like, well, what are you doing this for then? What's going on? But the biggest word and learning from it is patience. Like, you got to do your trial and error, your reactive, your proactive. You've got to see what works, what doesn't work, and obviously this structure might work for you, and it looks like it will potentially work for me in terms of how both me and you are quite wired in that discipline front. But it's knowing then you can take something from what someone else is giving you and make it suit you and fit your life, right? Because it's then different when families come into the equation, or corporate roles, or whatever. So it's then knowing, how do we fit this around you, I think is super important when we get onto that stuff.
Absolutely. And, you know, like, we're always better coaches for other people than we are ourselves. You know,
I've learned that recently.
Yeah, 100%. Like, the reason I'm giving you this advice now is because I've literally gone through this myself over the last 2 months, where I'm still trying to figure out, like, the best way to put together my schedule so I can get, because I'm fucking busy as well. Like, you know, I've got so much shit going on that if I'm not on point with my time management, then, like, the days just get away from me, and I fucking work myself to the bone. I don't give myself any time, but, you know, I know how important it is to give myself some time to, you know, get shit done that is important to me, that allows me to, you know, drive that parasympathetic state and rest, digest, relax, have a little bit of chill time. But also, you know, stay on top of things and be a little bit reactive when I need to be. So, you know, this is all coming from my own experience over the last 2 months, and, you know, figuring it all out myself. So, you know, hopefully people listening, you know, can, you know, because a lot of people think that I'm really fucking disciplined, I'm really regimented and, you know, structured, and I am, because I have to be, but I'm also very adaptable and very flexible. Like, you know, someone spoke to me, I think it was yesterday or the day before, and was like, hey, what's your plan next week, blah, 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 can I book in? And I'm like, I have no fucking idea what I'm doing next week. Like, my weeks change, like, every single week. No one week is the same. Like, I'm in fight camp with so many fighters at the moment. You know, I've got a number of things that are constants on my schedule, like my combat strength and conditioning class at 9:30. That's a constant. My 8:15 class with my sponsored fighters. That's a constant. My general population clients on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's a constant. You know, but then with my fighters, I try and keep them as structured and as scheduled as possible. But then, you know, I've got some guys in camp for 2 weeks. I've got some guys in camps for 8 weeks, and there's always people coming and going. So, you know, I don't have breakfast at the same time. I don't have lunch at the same time. I don't have dinner at the same time. I don't have clients at the same time. So, you know, I'm constantly having to adjust my schedule. I'm constantly having to, you know, be proactive with it, but also give myself time to be reactive with it.